For 5 days, London simply stopped existing, vanished beneath a killer cloud. It was December 1952. A typical London winter, gray and cold, but something felt different, an unusual stillness in the air. Then, the fog rolled in, thicker than anything seen before. Not just a fog, though, this was something else entirely. On December 5th, the Great Smog descended. A toxic brew of smoke, soot, and sulfur dioxide, trapped by a rare weather phenomenon called a temperature inversion. The city's millions of coal fires, industrial chimneys, and vehicle exhausts had nowhere to go but down. Visibility plummeted to mere feet, then inches. People couldn't see their own hands in front of their faces. Buses stopped. Cars crashed. Even pedestrians struggled to navigate, bumping into each other, feeling their way along walls. The air itself became a physical entity. A choking, yellowish-black mass that tasted of sulfur. It permeated everything. Homes, clothes, lungs. It wasn't just an inconvenience. It was an assault on the senses, a creeping terror. Outdoor events were canceled, of course. But even indoors, the smog seeped in. Theaters, cinemas, hospitals, none were safe. Stories emerged of audiences unable to see the stage, of doctors struggling to tend to patients in dimly lit, smoke-filled wards. The true horror, however, was in the hospitals. Respiratory illnesses soared: bronchitis, pneumonia, heart failure. The elderly and the very young were particularly vulnerable. Mortuaries quickly became overwhelmed. Official estimates initially put the death toll at around 4,000. But later analysis revealed a far more devastating figure. The Great Smog was directly or indirectly responsible for an estimated 12,000 deaths. Imagine a city where daylight barely broke through, even at noon, where streetlights were useless, where the very act of breathing was a painful, dangerous endeavor. London became a ghost town, its vibrant energy suffocated. For 5 agonizing days, the city held its breath. Then, as suddenly as it arrived, the weather shifted. A cold wind swept through, dispersing the toxic cloud. London slowly re-emerged, battered but breathing again. The Great Smog was a brutal wake-up call. It forced the government to act, leading directly to the Clean Air Act of 1956. This landmark legislation introduced smoke-free zones and shifted homes away from coal, fundamentally changing how cities managed air quality. It remains one of the worst environmental disasters in European history, a stark reminder of humanity's impact on its environment and the silent, invisible threats that can emerge from our own progress. A city's vanishing act, etched in history. Discover another forgotten catastrophe that reshaped a nation.